Okay, so I'm really excited to be participating in a new blog hop, and I'm creating a video with it as well. This is called Remember When, and it's a blog hop using materials that are at least 10 years old or older. I think 10 or 8 years old, basically from the beginning of scrapbooking, not the beginning, but when I started scrapbooking, which was I guess 15 years ago. I have some still here, and I'm going to be creating an altered journal, an altered notebook that I'm going to be gifting to a friend, my friend Phoebe in Japan. And I bought this notebook. It's from the dollar store, and I'm going to basically alter it just for her. I'm not going to be having these I'm cutting off. And I've collected a lot of things from a long time ago. They might look new, but they're not. They're actually at least 10 years old. Some of these, look at that. Like, I don't remember. I remember like when I bought these. And I'm going to creating the journal cover, but to do that, I need to take this off. So this is going to be, I'm going to be taking these off. So just going to stop the video camera and basically take both sides off, and then I'm going to do the art journal cover. Just wanted to say this is another thing that I'm going to be using. This is from Making Memories. It's a chipboard shapes with hearts and stuff. These are, I think, the ones that came in it. These are all the ones that came. We used some of this. Actually, my friend just gave me this because this is, look, it says 2007. So it's 11 years old, which is great. And just going to use, I think the only one that fits this is this one, so I'm going to be using this one just to embellish, and the others can be used for something else. So I'm going to put them aside. So we'll be back once I take this off. Okay, so I gave the two sides of the cover a coat of heavy black gesso. That's the Prima Finnabair Art Basics, and I also coated this as well. Sorry for the brightness. Somehow when the light, when everything is black, it becomes very bright. I don't know, that compensating for the brightness. And since both sides are the same, I can actually flip them around. And the reason why I want to do that is because of these two holes here. I want this to be the front cover, and I'm going to be using something to cover some of these holes so it doesn't show. And I'm going to add texture as well. So I want to use some of this graphite texture paste to create some texture in the background. I'm going to be using it with a palette knife. Oops, sorry. And all I'm going to do is basically, that's a good way of kind of creating some texture in the background and covering this place that I don't want, this area that I don't want to show. You can also kind of press on it. I want to make sure that this still fits, even if it's in there. Okay, good. And I'm going to add it to this. Just be careful with the holes here. Don't get it in the holes of the actual journal, because you won't be able to then fit it in. Okay, there we go. I didn't get such a good coat of the black gesso because it didn't matter. I was adding more layers onto this, and there's going to be more black gesso layers, so it's not a big deal. So I'm pressing here and creating that texture. It doesn't have to be everywhere because some of it is going to be covered, right? I want it here in the middle. I wanted the texture to kind of show up underneath. I'm going to be putting embellishments anyways, but still you want that texture, and you can see it's very gridded, which is really, really nice to see. So that's the front, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the back, just in different places as well. The back is going to be plain. There's not going to be much to it, nothing raised at least. That way people can, my friend can write on it, not people, the person that is getting it. So she'll be able to use it and write on it, right? So I might put some maybe flat embellishments. I haven't decided yet. Or I might just leave the texture like that and that's it. So this texture, it looks gray, but it actually dries black. It's one of my favorite mediums. And it's really cool to use. It gives it a really gritty texture. If you can hear it with my palette knife, it has a lot of grit to it. So yes, these are all like, you know, recent mediums because I wanted to do like a remember when option for this blog hop, but I wanted to have, I wanted to do it mixed media style, which is what I love. So that's why I went ahead and used it that way. So I think this is pretty good. I mean, I don't want it everywhere, as I said. There we go. So that's basically the front and the back of this, and I'm going to glue this on top. So it's not everywhere, it's just in some areas. So look at the cool texture that this paste creates. And this was done not only with the grittiness of the texture, but also with a palette knife. So that helped a lot. And here I'm going to put this on top, and I'm going to start building my focal point. I'm going to use a lot of my the different things. I don't know if you remember these. Forever. I'm just going to use them to create texture, not specifically in any way. And I like to build things. So I don't know, I have a lot of these, so I might as well use these for something. I don't know if you remember these. These are also, I don't know if you remember these way back then. You're not going to see these words. I'm going to cover them all, but I just want to show you that you can use all these old things that you may have for things. And look what I brought. I also brought, I'm going to use some old things and some new ones. Let's see. We'll try our best. I still have all these containers with lots of different things. You remember these containers? So I'm going to move this one. This one I'm not working on right now. So there is lots of things. I've given a lot of stuff away, but some things have stayed. I don't know if you remember these. Think about these. Are really cool. I thought, I can use these. And all these things, buttons. Who remembers these from Remember When? I mean, these can be used as well. They're a bit tiny, so I'm going to have to glue them. And basically, I'm going to go through all my little bins and find things, knickknacks that I can use. Look at this one. Who remembers these flowers? These are perfect because we're going to cover them up. So I could use these for embellishment. I really like these. There's all these like little stones that I can add at the end. Let's see what else is in my little mini content. Oh, so many brads. So many brads. Who still has a million brads? I do. I do. And buttons. Oh gosh, I have so many buttons. Okay, so let's see. Let's put some buttons as well. What as well? I can use buttons to prop things up. And I'm trying to think what else I could use to embellish. So I will put something more recent, but I think it's cool because you could use these buttons to raise things up. There we go. And I will bring some stuff. This is not as old. I think this is cool. I want to make this a little bit more steampunk. I might have to use this as well. But I want to put something even bigger here. So let me go find something. Okay, so I'm going to use some of these. These are not old. These are new, but I thought, you know what? I want to use these to kind of raise things up. And then this can go right on top here. And I found these. I found some new metal words. These are old that I used to have. Metal letters, I meant to say. Maybe I will have them. Maybe I'll put this one here. It's a monogram for the person that I'm giving it to. And I found some more things, like little things like this that were part of, like, see, there's another container full of stuff that I found. letters, and these are, I'm sure these, who didn't have these? Can't believe I kept all these things. But these are perfect for just embellishing and decorating. I like that. So I do have to find more things. I have to find more things to embellish with. This is not enough. I want to use a few more things, but I like that. I like that I found some cool things to embellish with. I went looking for some more things. I wanted to kind of create a steampunk look. So I found some of the junkyard findings. These are not as old as 10 years old, but it gives it 5 years, which is not bad. So I thought this would be cool to put also with everything else. Haven't used this actually ever, so I think that would look cool. So I mean, I'm going to play around with this until I like the design, and then I think that's when I'll stop. I just don't want to waste your time while you're seeing these. There's some more pipe looking things. So I don't know, I just thought this would look cool even in a corner here. So there's like a lot of things I can play around. These are really cool. I don't know if they're still available, so don't mind me that they might not be available. I might need one that is facing the other way. Not sure. Well, anyways, I'll just play around with these until I'm happy with the way they look. I like having things kind of sticking out. There you go. And I even brought these, the spark plugs. So these would be cool. I could put also gears. I just wanted to put it a little bit more steampunk in a way, because I know that my friend likes that. So let's see. This one says be happy. And all I have to do is just basically glue it. So I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm going to glue everything off screen. So I like taking a picture of things. That way I remember. Here, I just took a picture with my phone. That way I'll remember where everything goes. And I'm going to use heavy body gel to glue everything to the background. While I'm gluing, I want to point out that I'm using these buttons to prop things up and elevate things. I put this on top of the metal bottle cap, metallic bottle cap, and that way it raised it a little bit more so I could put this fan on top. And make sure you have some kind of brush handy and that you could basically clean up any extra gel that kind of sticks out from the corner. So I just use my palette knife to glue things to the background. And that's what all I've been doing. I'm basically just gluing one thing into the other. Here the same thing, I can prop this one with a button. That way it doesn't fall. I need one more button. So all these buttons you've been saving for years, they can be easily used for something like this. Okay, I grabbed a few of these eyelets and I'm going to stick them in some places. They're perfect for mixed media, perfect for steampunk actually, for that matter. So I'm going to stick them in some areas. I think they'll look really cool because they look like kind of knobs, not knobs. I don't know, they look steampunk to me, that's what I mean. So I'm just sticking them in some places. So perfect for remember when. Perfect for that in that sense, that you can just add it in certain places, like in the center of things, or basically anywhere. I'm still using my glue. So if you didn't know what to do with your eyelets, you can definitely use them in mixed media. It works great. Oh gosh, I remember how we used to have to set these. And I never had patience for that. I could never, I hated setting eyelets. It was such a pain, and I had so many of them, which are still in this box. Must have not given them away. I must have thought, oh, I could do something with them. So I guess, yes, I found something that I could do with them, and I'm excited about that. So these eyelets, round eyelets, how cool is that? I like the look of it. I think it will look really cool once everything is covered in black again, and once everything is glued. I think it's neat to add those eyelets. I actually quite like it. So this is basically the setup. I'm going to let this dry overnight and then paint it, and then cover it all in black gesso, just because I want to make sure that everything is even. And some of the things I want to cover, like this word party, I don't really want it there. And I want everything to be even so I can actually paint it with metal. Okay, so now that everything is glued, and this is the next day, so everything is basically glued to the background, I'm going to take the heavy gesso again, and I'm going to just cover everything with the heavy gesso, including the back. Even though it's pretty black, I want to make sure I get rid of all the shininess, because some of these mediums have gel in them, and shiny glossy gel. So what I do is I use the black gesso to cover everything, and it takes away that glossiness. So if you see here, it's like glossy, while here it's not. You can keep it glossy if you want, but I prefer having matte backgrounds because that's easier to add other things onto it. I prefer that everything is one smooth surface. So just wanted to do the back to show you the difference, but I'm going to paint here in the front. And sometimes, yes, it's a little bit difficult to get in between the embellishments, but you can manage. And if you don't want to do that, you can easily paint all the embellishments separately and then add them to the background once they're dried. So you can do that as well. You don't have to do it like me. Kind of consider myself a little bit lazy in the point that I find it double the work to have to paint everything, so I don't like doing that. But you don't have to do that. You could just paint if you want. And I also want to reach right here. I forgot to do the edges as well. So everything can be done at once. You can always take a smaller paintbrush and basically get in there within the nooks and crannies of the actual like embellishments. So I'm going to be doing this. I might cut off some of this areas. I might cut off some of this part of this video just because there's no point on having you seeing how I paint everything in black. But I'm just basically going to cover everything. The nice thing about this heavy gel, this is the Art Basics black gesso, not gel, sorry, I keep on saying gel. The nice thing about this heavy gesso, which is the Prima Finnabair Art Basics black gesso, is that it's heavy enough and thick enough that one coat basically is just what you need. If you dry it and then you realize that some parts are missing the gesso, then you can just add a little bit more in those areas, or you can definitely use a second coat if you really want it covered well. So that's basically it, and I'm going to cover everything now. Making everything even helps with the composition. With everything has the same background and the same paint in the back, it helps with being able to add paints onto this and make it look all the same. if you have different backgrounds or different consistencies of the embellishments, for example, some of these were metal, some were wood, some were plastic. So it's really important to have them all the same because different paints react differently on top of different surfaces. So in order to do that, you need to have something like a black gesso, and that helps to even out the surface for everything. So black gesso makes everything be the same. It makes it all look equal. And what I do is I turn things around so I can look at the page from all angles to make sure I didn't miss any nooks and crannies, any little places where I think the gesso should cover. Okay, I've picked a few colors from the Metallique from Prima Marketing, Finnabair, and this is called Rusty Red. And I'm going to use them for this canvas. This is a brand new one. It's called Gold Amber, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful orange. So I'm excited to use these. Okay, and they're very, very, very highly metallic and very shiny. I'm also using another new one. It's called Rustic Brown. Which is beautiful. And finally the Gold Rush, which is a golden color. So all these together I'm going to mix, and I'm first going to use what's on my lid just because it's easier to finish those ones up. And the way to work with these is that you want to create a dry brush on them so they pick up all the nice texture in the background. So the dry brush is really important to do because it picks up that beautiful texture. So all I do is I just dip it into the paintbrush into the paint, and then I move the paintbrush really quickly. That way it only goes on the texture, and the edges do turn out really darker, and that's nice as well. Oh, this is a beautiful brown. I love it. And I love mixing these colors together. They look so beautiful and so texturized. Okay, I've reduced the brightness on the camera. That way you can see the colors better. It is very hard to see otherwise. And I want this to look really industrial, so it looks really cool this way. Wow. So all the little pieces that I added, look at the cool pieces, the eyelets that I added. Those turned out so cool. And the reason why I want to do the dry brush is because I want that black to be in the background. I wanted to have that shadow in the background. It looks really cool when it's very industrial looking. So the combination of all these colors together really look good. And I'm going to add a little bit more gold. The gold helps. I will definitely add waxes after as well, but I just wanted to show how cool it looks. These old eyelets that you don't have anything to do with, you can definitely use now. You can find something to do with them, and I'm really excited that I found something that I could use them for, because they were just sitting in a drawer forever and ever. So I'm really excited that I found something that I could do with them. And you can see how little paint I use. These jars really last you a long time. You can use them for forever and ever. And it's very hard to kind of see, but the texture is really, really cool. So I'm going to turn this around just to see if there's any places I've missed, because sometimes until you look at the other side you don't know what some areas you might have missed. Okay, once I combined all the colors that are from the same families, like the oranges and the reds, I wanted to add a little bit of a purplish color. This is called Dark Velvet, and it's a beautiful purple color. I love the combination of oranges and red with a little bit of purple. They look so good together, especially for steampunk. But this is where I want to add this more, kind of in the shadows of all the embellishments. I think it looks so good when you add some of that purple, and it really makes a difference. I really love this combination. I've used it in the past and I really find it's beautiful. So I'm just going to add a little bit of purple in some areas, not everywhere, and then I'm just going to add some of the waxes as well. So now all I do is I go back with the waxes, but I'm going to heat set it first. Okay, so I'm going to add the wax now, and I usually like adding it with my finger. That's usually what I like to do, because I find it I have more control that way. So it really goes on all the texture. It looks really, really cool. I think I might want to add another color of the wax as well. Let's see which one. I might go with the copper. This is the rich copper because it's kind of an orangey color as well. Let's see how it looks. I can go in with a little paintbrush also and kind of paint any places that my finger cannot reach, because it looks better that way when you cover it properly. I might go a little bit with the Antique Brilliance as well and add some more purple in some places, because the colors combined looks really good. Let me go back and turn this around, because it looks so good like this. This purple is beautiful. What the purple does is that it helps create shadows in between the embellishments. It makes it look authentic. So by adding it in between all the embellishments, it makes it look as if it's part of the design. While the gold kind of brings out the highlights and highlights everything, the purple gives it those shadows, which are so important when you're doing 3D things. Finally, as I realized that this party word never got it covered, I thought I would bring in one of these metal words that I had from before and just glue it on top. It fit the colors perfectly. So all I'm taking is just a little bit of gel and just gluing it to the background. That way I can really cover the party word, which I didn't really want it to be there. And I could make this match as well by just grabbing the vintage gold and just pass, you know, swiping it with some gold. And then it says inspire. And there is the P for my friend's name. And there, that's it. And there, this is the design of the book. And now all I have to do now is just put it back into the notebook, and all the put the spiral into the notebook. I'm also going to actually paint the insides a little bit just with black, and then put a little, I guess I could do that now while this is drying, because it looks really horrible inside. So all you have to do is just take this, grab a paintbrush, and just make sure, I'm going to cover this with paper, but just so it covers everywhere, I'm going to cut paper that is the same size as this, and I'll show you this at the end. So I'm just making a border around the paper, and then I'm going to cut papers that are this exact same size and cover it inside. I cut out 2 pieces of paper out of one of the old Prima Finnabair papers, the Sunrise Sunset. This project was really inspired by my friend Ola, who created a notebook recently, and also a different type of notebook, but it was also steampunk style, and it's really gorgeous. You should go check it out. But I just got inspired and I wanted to create a notebook as well, so this is why I did that, although it's completely different, but it inspired me. And she also used these papers. She reminded me that I still have these papers, and all I'm doing is just edging them so they kind of match this. And because I don't have anything to hole punch these, I'm going to actually just glue them that way, so it will not be at the corners. And what you can do is you can use the waxes to just kind of give it a little bit of color as well. So I'm just going to use like just the gel to basically glue this to the background. So it's really easy. I guess I could put it on the actual paper instead of on the board, but it doesn't really matter. And this will basically glue it and seal it, so it's perfect. And I left a little bit of a border as well, so that way it looks like it has the black on the border. So if my friend wants to use this part of the paper, she can as well. So I just want to use something like a credit card just to kind of get the bubbles out so it doesn't buckle up. You could use a brayer as well. So there we go. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Maybe I'll apply it to this time. So there's my notebook. I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to coil this back onto the actual notebook. Then send it to my friend who lives in Japan. Her name is Phoebe. I don't know if I mentioned that already. So we're exchanging gifts, so that's exciting. My hands are so dirty that I'm worried to put anything on this because it will transfer. And as I said, I could take the gold and just make it golden in the edges as well, so it kind of matches the other side. That way it really matches everything. There we go. And this is it. So This is the front. I mean, this is the back. It goes like this. Back, back, front, front. And this will dry clear because it's just gel. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you like my video tutorial. Check out the other blogs and check out what other type of products they use from 10 years ago, because this is a Remember When blog hop, and I also created a video for it, so I have a video and everything. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked my video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and get crafty, get artsy, and get your hands dirty, experiment, have fun. And if you created something inspired by my work, please tag me on Facebook and show it to me, or you can even message me privately on Facebook to show it to me. I would love to see it. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel if you don't already, and have an amazing day. Bye.